Hey guys, Prangell Gaming here, and today I'm going to be doing a season review of Millwall's match before we actually go to Wembley, because as you know, next Saturday, or the upcoming Saturday, we will be going to Wembley. My word, I cannot wait for that tie, but I want to review us before we actually get into that time. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be reviewing the players and kind of rating them. I'm going to be talking about the players that I could see leaving and the players I would like to sign, before then talking about 4 key matches that actually meant how well our season went, and then giving my views on the Wembley match and talking about the players that actually went out on loan and whether I think they're going to actually have a future at this club. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually start off by rating the players, and we'll go from goalkeepers all the way down. So I'm going to start with Jordan Archer. I'm going to give him a 3.5 rating. Archer's had a solid season, recording 15 clean sheets. However, Archer has been quite poor recently. He's let me down quite a lot since coming back from injury, and he's actually conceded 8 goals in 4 matches. It's not the best, if I'm going to be honest, for a goalkeeper, and Archer really, he hasn't been the same since coming back from injury. But someone who has impressed me this season is Tom King. I give him a 4 out of 5. A great debut season for the young keeper that's come through our ranks. Obviously, he had to cover for Jordan Archer when he got injured. He's played 11 and only conceded 7 since obviously coming in from when Archer got injured. That's a pretty good stat. And obviously, we've got to bear in mind, he hasn't really been playing that much professionally. Now, into the left-back position, and we're going to go with Millwall captain Tony Craig, who I'm going to give a 4.5. And the captain, in my opinion, has been honest since he's made the swap from centre-back to left-back, obviously following his return from injury. And to be honest, I think he's won the fans round completely. Obviously, some still have their opinions that he shouldn't be captain, but I think he's been quality all season, and a lot of fans have actually grown on the fact of liking him. The next player is Joe Martin. I'm going to have to give him one of the lowest ratings that I'm going to be going with. I've got nothing against Joe himself. He's actually a pretty solid player, but the fact is he's one of the players that hasn't benefited from the fact that Tony Craig is the captain and has to play in the left back position, because what's happened is he's only played 28 matches, which compared to last season's 39 doesn't look so bad. But the difference is he's been missing for 20 matches. Really, during Millwall's incredible run, he was missing for the majority of those games. That is huge, and for a player like Joe, he needs to be playing first team football. Yes, he gets booked a lot, and the disciplinary side of his football isn't fantastic, but at the end of the day, he is still an important member of the team, and I really do feel for him. Now, no achievement, I'm going to have to give him a 2.5. He's only played twice this season. That's really why I'm going to give him that rating. I can't judge him too much. He did look decent in the Checkatrade trophy when he played, but I'm going to be honest, it's really hard to judge a player by how they're going to play if they haven't really played that much. Is he going to be a hit? Well, I just don't know. Sean Hutchinson would then be a 3 out of 5. And now Hutch, to be honest, he deserves to be a 5 out of 5. But the fact he's been injured quite a lot means that I'm probably not going to see him any higher than a 3. To be honest, if he had not been injured as much, then he would have gone much higher, because he's been a quality member when he's been playing in the team. As for his centre-back partner, Byron Webster, I'm going to have to give him a 5 out of 5. He has had another great season, showing there is life in the defence after his defensive partner, Mark Beavers, left. Webster has been crucial to our promotion push, and he was actually my vote for player of the season. That's how much I've really enjoyed Webster this season. Obviously, hasn't been scoring as many, but you know what? He's a defender. You don't always score a lot of goals. Jake Cooper will be given a 4.5 rating. The Coop has been an amazing player since Harris signed him, obviously on loan from Reading. And it's a shame, really, that he may not stay with us, because he's fought a lot of battles in the Millwall shirt. Yes, he did get sent off against Leicester. That's a bad sign, and obviously I would have given him a 5 out of 5 had he not had that happen. Marlon Romeo is going to be given a 3 out of 5. Now, I'd say it's been a pretty good season for Marlon, but his progression really has been halted by Sean Cummins coming in and sort of being a better defender over time. Obviously, his experience has come to show. And coincidentally, Sean Cummins is the next player. A 4.5 rating for Sean. This season has been phenomenal for him. And, well, he scored some very important goals against, obviously, Leicester and Bournemouth, which sent us through in the FA Cup. The dreams that you really have, Sean has been fantastic. He's got us through some really tough games against some really strong opposition. Aidan O'Brien would have to be a 5 out of 5. Aidan has had another quality season, and he's quite clearly shone. 15 goals this season, which means he's very close to Gregory and Morrison's goal scoring record, and he's actually got more than he did last season, which from the left midfield position, that is fantastic. I think Aidan has been perfect. He needs more time as a striker, and I know Harris isn't going to give him that. 4 out of 5 would be the next rating, and it's going to go for Shane Ferguson. He's been pretty important this season. His work rate have been really what's helped the club moving forward. Now, he does only have 4 assists, but Fergie always gets forward. He always creates chances, and I really do like Fergie. I think he's such an instrumental member of the team. Sean Williams would then get a 5 out of 5 in my opinion. He's been the perfect midfielder. Got 5 goals and 6 assists. And well, he's been able to put those long balls forward that have been crucial at times. And let's not forget that amazing goal he scored against Nottingham Forest in the EFL Cup. Now, Ben Thompson, I'm going to have to give him a 3 out of 5. Now, that might be quite controversial to some people's opinions, but Tomo hasn't had a fantastic season by any shout. Yes, he's been pretty good, but he's not really made any improvement on last season. I know he did quite well last season, but I would have expected more from him. His game has improved a little bit, but he has been called out more this season than he was last season. Obviously, people starting to learn his play. Jimmy Abdu will get a 2 out of 5 in my opinion, as it's not been a particularly promising season for the midfielder. Obviously, he's ageing and, well, he's just not really playing a part in many games anymore. And when he does, he's making a few substitute appearances. But what I can't fault is how good he was in the playoffs. He's done quite well so far. And obviously, if there's an opportunity for Jimmy to stay, I'd love to see that happen. Callum Butcher is going to get a 3 out of 5. For his first season in a Millwall shirt, it hasn't been too bad. He's clearly helped the club moving forward. And, well, I think he's... The only reason I'd give him a 3 out of 5 is because he's a player that Harris likes to bring on. He doesn't really have him started. That's the only limitation I'd say to Butcher's play, is the fact that he hasn't started enough games really, and Thompson and Williams have always got over him. Now, Jed Wallace is the next player, and I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5. His return to the Den has been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I can't fault him. I didn't want him to come back, really, if I'm going to be honest, because I don't like players coming to clubs that they've already been to. But the only reason he misses a 5 out of 5 is the fact he hasn't been with us all season. Honestly, he could have clearly been one of our most important players throughout the entire season. He's got some crucial goals, and let's not forget he scored more goals than he scored last season. That is something that I never thought I'd say. 3 goals, and well, some of them have been pretty good to watch. Plus, his work rates have been fantastic. The amount of times he's run back, his defensive track cover, that he's got the ball when no one's there, it is something that you can only dream of. Now, Fred Odinyema will get a 3 out of 5. Fred's had a pretty good season, if I'm going to be honest. But for the amount of matches he's played, that's the reason why he only gets a 3 and not a 4. Now, the problem is with Fred is he's so young, so he can hide behind the fact he's young, but maybe he should be getting double figures with his goals. If he wants to play as a striker, which he's expressed his desire to do so, then he's going to need to score more. I did like the header he scored against Southend, but Fred's been quite inconsistent in his performances, and he is only young, so that's a reason why obviously he's probably not performing as good as what some people want. But obviously, whether Fred stays or not, we just have to see. But regardless, he's not a bad player. Now, David Worrell, I'm going to give a 2 out of 5. It hasn't been an impressive season whatsoever for Worrell. He hasn't nailed down an actual starting position for the Lions, meaning that we had to go and sign Jed Wallace in January. Now, he did start off well, but it really tailed off towards the end, and he's being used more so as a substitute player, which, to be honest, it's not what you want really, is it? Now, Steve Morrison, the player of the season. I'm going to be honest, he's been great again. Obviously not scoring as many goals as he did last time, but he's been so important. 18 goals, and well, considering he isn't getting any younger, the goals he's scoring, some of them are fantastic. Obviously, he's had the armband quite a lot this season, And well, he's been a really, really good player. He's been able to get forward. Yes, he doesn't have the pace that he needs to have, really, in my opinion. But he does a decent job. And regardless of whether he scores in every game, he still is an important member of that squad. And I think he's proven in the games that he doesn't play, we don't do very well. And the other striker that's so important to our season is, of course, Lee Gregory. I give him a 4 out of 5, to be honest. It's just due to the fact he's been nowhere near as good as last season. Now, you may think I'm being a little bit harsh. A lot of these goals have come from penalties. And that's not what I like from a striker. In my podcast, I've always said I want midfielders to take penalties because strikers should have to work really hard. Gregory's got too many penalties, in my opinion, and scored too many of them. I don't like that in a striker. Obviously, the more goals you get, the better, but it's not something I like. Now, Harry Smith is the second to last player in the Millwall squad. I'm going to give him a 3 out of 5. Now, he's really surprised me. I've liked him, but it's only because he's come in when Morrison and Gregory were struggling to score, and he became an instant hit, scoring that hat-trick against Braintree Town in the FA Cup. And well, really, since then, he's had limited playing time, and that's the reason I'm going to have to give him a 3 out of 5. But he's not too bad, and he shows he's quite promising. Now, Jamie Philpott is the final player. I'm giving him a 2 out of 5. He spent too long in the academy, if I'm going to be honest, in the youth team. And he's not really had enough time to play for Millwall. He's been sent out on loan to Bromley, but he's never actually got a run in the team. And so that's the reason why I'd give him a 2 out of 5. Now, what about the players I expect to leave? We're going to start with Joe Martin. I just think that due to the fact he's not been a regular starter, he needs to go and play. He's got the quality to play week in, week out for a side in League One. And obviously he hasn't been in the team due to Craig being the captain. I think that's a bit unfair. Maybe Joe has stayed, but I could see him leaving. Next player is Greg Wild. Now, there's no no-brainer to this. Wild hasn't been fit all season. He went out on loan to Northampton to gain fitness. He's got injured again. And well, it's led to rumours that the club are looking to sell him on. And to be honest, I think it's the best thing to do. I was quite happy with Wild coming in. But he looks like a player that's just not going to be able to play in a Millwall shirt. And to be honest, I think it'd be better to move him on than just not have anything happen with him. The next player is Jake Cooper. And it's not due to the fact that I don't think we can sign him, because I think we have an opportunity to. But his loan's obviously going to expire after the Wembley trip, and I don't think he's going to want to go down to League One. I think he's on quite a bit of money, if I'm going to be honest, and well, that could be a problem for Millwall, whether we can offer it or not. But if we go to the Championship, there's always the opportunity that we could actually get him. Another player that I do think could be halted onto the fact that if we get to the Championship, we will keep him. That's going to be Fred Odinyema. Obviously, he's yet to sign a new deal. And he has the same agent as Adoma Lookman, who obviously went to Everton. So his agent tends to move his actual players to big clubs. So Fred could go to someone in the Championship. Is he going to go? I really don't know. I would prefer if Fred stays, to be honest. And I had one more player on my list of players that I actually expected to leave. And it's a player that's actually gone. Alfie Pavey, yes. He spent so much time out on loan. Harry Smith then came in and stopped his playing time, and really, I expected Alfie Pavey to leave. To be honest, he's never really looked promising in my eyes. He's always looked tall and been able to try and win a header, but he's never been good enough moving forward. Yes, he had limited playing time, like a lot of these young strikers, and sometimes that is a problem. And, well, for Alfie, its time took its toll, and obviously he's now left the club. As for the players I want to sign, I'm going to start with John Akinde, just due to the fact he's a strong physical striker. He obviously gets bullied a lot. People try to. Well, I say he gets bullied. He doesn't. He's a very strong player. He's a beast of an actual striker. He is a very, very good target man. A lot of his play is built on his physicality. We can hoof the ball up to him, and well, he would obviously be able to knock it down and create a great chance for us. And I think our style of play would be brilliant for him. But would we afford him? I don't know. I really don't know whether Barnett would actually want to sell him, because he's such an important member of their team, but he's a player I would like. The next player is Charlie Ragland, a player that's been released from Chesterfield, and this is music to my ears because he was on loan to Oxford United, and well, that loan's obviously expired, and so I do think he may well join Oxford, but he would be a great defensive option if Hutchinson was to get injured and Cooper doesn't stay. Curtis Nelson is the next player, and Well, he's one of the more pricier players, if I'm going to be honest. I thought he was class when Oxford played us this season and shut us out in that 3-0 game. And I've liked him when he played for Plymouth in the past. I think he could be a really good investment. And if we do need a centre-back, which could well be the case if Cooper moves on and we don't really look to Sid Nelson to do anything. Cal Naismith would then be the next player that I'd be looking to sign if I was the people at the top of Millwall. The forward probably isn't going to sign for us, I'm going to be honest. He's a winger that can play on the left and on the right. He scored 15 goals and got 7 assists. And he would be an option to challenge Worrell and Wallace, or maybe even O'Brien and Ferguson. Will he make the move? I very much doubt it, because either way he's going to be playing League One football if he doesn't join us. So it's still not bad for a player that was playing in League Two. Now, Marcus Maddison would be the next player. Now, he's a player I've liked for quite a while. He's been transfer listed by Peterborough United. He's a very good midfielder. I think that he can play a lot of football, and I've always thought that he's good enough to play in the Championship. Now, I don't know how much he's on a week. That could be the stumbling block, if I'm going to be honest, because he might be on too much. I really don't know how much Peterborough were paying for him to play, but obviously it's worth a try. He's a midfielder. Obviously, he is more of a cam, but he could fit into our system. We'll maybe see how we could incorporate him. I would like to see him in there. Now, Stefan Skugel is the next player. He was part of Sheffield United's promotion-winning side. I reckon he could play in Millwall's system. He plays on the left, he can play in the centre. I think, why not make a bid for him? Now, obviously, as I said earlier, there were 4 key points that shaped our season. And the first was a 3-0 loss to Scunthorpe United at Glanford Park on the 17th of December. I think this loss was actually needed, as it then eventually put a kickstart into our unbeaten run. Obviously, we were very inconsistent and, well, we needed a good run, and, well, we certainly got it. And speaking of the unbeaten run, during that run we beat 3 Premier League sides. Now, I bet you expect me to be saying that the 1-0 win against Leicester City would be a one that would actually shape our season. No, you would be wrong there. The game that I think actually shaped our season was the 3-0 thrashing against AFC Bournemouth. Now, even though their squad wasn't their starting 11, they were a Premier League side. They're the first one we faced, and that gave us a lot of confidence and a huge boost to go and overcome Watford and the Premier League champions in Leicester. Though I think the Leicester win was due to a case of their side was so heavily wounded that they came to a stadium that was so big with the atmosphere that they were clearly out of their depth. Now, Millwall's run did end, and, well, it was in quite a sensational way, if I'm going to be honest. A 6-0 loss to Tottenham. Yeah, that was another game that obviously shaped our season. I thought that after the run we would struggle, and I didn't think we'd struggle as much as we did, but obviously I knew that losing 6-0, quite evidently, that would affect our season. And, well, it did obviously lead us to a lot of issues with confidence, and we just stuttered into those playoffs. Then the final game is going to obviously be the one against Scunthorpe, where we beat them 3-2 at Glanford Park. I'm going to have to say that. It got us to Wembley. A Morrison double and an assist is probably one of the best Millwall games of the season. We came from behind and we was perfect. Now, speaking of Wembley, how do I feel we're going to do? Well, I think we're going to win 3-1. We're going to have to come from behind though, and I think we've been pretty good at doing that. And in terms of Bradford, I think they were the strongest ones in the playoffs. I don't think Fleetwood were. I think Fleetwood won't even be challenging next year. Scunthorpe will. They'll be one of the stronger ones, but I knew they were there for the taking. And, well, to be honest, Bradford, it's going to be an interesting tie. And even if we do lose to them, I think they are a strong side. Compared to the 2 that obviously were in the playoffs, I think that those were actually the strongest ones. Now, I want to end this video by talking about the players on loan and whether they will actually challenge or even come back to the squad next season. We're going to start with David Ford. He obviously won the league with Portsmouth. Do I think he's going to leave in the summer? I do. I think he's going to stay with Portsmouth due to his form there, and obviously it's still League One football. At the end of the day, he's guaranteed to be a starter. Now, for Sid Nelson, he went on loan to strugglers Newport County, who obviously battled against relegation and stayed up. Now, was that to do with Sid? I don't think it was. They really didn't involve him as much. He wasn't really good enough to challenge for a spot in a relegation struggling team. So is he even going to pin down a spot in this Millwall team? I don't think he will. I really think he's going to struggle to get game time, and he's probably going to get loaned out again. Now, another player would be Greg Wild. Yeah, he didn't have the greatest time at Millwall. He then got loaned out to Northampton, and as I've already covered, he got injured, and fitness and injuries have been a problem for the Scotsman. And I don't think he's really going to do anything. I do think that Millwall would be better cutting ties with him. I also had Alfie Pavey on this list and saying that I didn't expect him to actually challenge and thought he'd go out on loan or have to leave the club. But obviously self-explanatory, he's gone. Jamie Philpott is another one that went out on loan. He went back to Bromley after Alfie Pavey came back. He featured 3 times. He didn't make too much difference. He never actually scored, and he just returned to the youth team. Not really much to note there. Now, there were 3 players that went out on loan to Braintree Town, and this was actually a pretty good experience, if I'm going to be honest, for the 3 that went out. Chris Twaddock, Karen Farrell and Christian Malubu all went out. Twaddock was by far the better of the 3. Karen Farrell actually did alright, but Chris Twaddock managed to get in his youth team's national side and play in a tournament, and he seemed pretty good while he was out on loan to Hakan Heffrin's Braintree Town side. Obviously, he's now left that club. Ryan Bray also went on 2 loans. He went to Welling United and Jimmy Bollard's Leatherhead FC. I apologise for that. But no, he played a decent amount of games and he's returned to the Lions. And the same goes for Harry Gerlin. He went on loan to Welling. He's just returned. They didn't make actually much of a difference, so it doesn't matter too much. The final player out on loan was Harry Donovan, who played in the centre of midfield on loan to Gary Alexander's Greenwich Borough FC, and he helped them to the playoffs. Obviously, the red card didn't help the youngster, but that's as far as it goes. Will he get involved? If we have the Checker Trade Trophy, which it looks likely we will, then he'll be involved in that. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I know it's going to be fairly long and I can only apologise, but would you rate any of the players different? And who would you prefer to sign? And do you think that any of the players I said will leave, or even any other players? Let me know in the comments section down below. But of course, like, comment, subscribe. And of course, I will be seeing you guys next time in a prediction video for the match at Wembley. But until then, goodbye.